Hi and welcome. Today we're going to be doing some spring cleaning. If you're new here, I'm a stay-at-home mom to 4 little kids, so there's always something that needs to be cleaned and or organized in our home. So in this video I'm going to be doing a deep clean. I often wipe down the kitchen and clean it as I go, but I don't often take everything down, wipe everything down. So some of this stuff is stuff that I do seasonally or maybe yearly, like cleaning of the dishwasher from the inside, moving the stove and the fridge to clean underneath there, wiping down the tops of the cabinets, which get really disgusting actually. So I'm going to be doing all of those things today. Again, if you're new here, I would love it if you subscribed and join my YouTube family. I'm going to start off with the tops of the cabinets. Now this took a lot longer than I thought because I forgot that it gets so grimy at the top there. When we moved into the house, that was one area that I didn't get to do. So to start off, I used a bunch of soap and water. So I did it a little bit more wet the first time around to kind of get the grime. And then I would do it again with a bit of a drier cloth just to make sure that I got all of it. And that took a lot longer than I had expected. I had figured, just quickly wipe it down, but it was a lot of scrubbing, so it took quite a bit longer. And then I'm also getting all of the cobwebs out of the top corners there. So just going along the tops of the counters there, and then I'm going to take down everything off the shelf there, wipe it down, and put everything back up. For the hood range, it was pretty stuck on there, so I'm going to quickly wipe it down and just get all of the dust off first. And then I'm going to use a spray and also a bunch of soapy water to get it, and then I buff it a bunch afterwards. So I know you can buy a bunch of different stainless steel cleaners, but for me what I find easiest is just whatever cleaner I have on hand, and then soap and water and buffing it really well to get it to look really nice. And here I'm doing the same thing with the fridge. I'm using a bit of a all-purpose cleaner, and then I'm going to use hot soapy water and get everything down. And then you go with the grain of the stainless steel. And once that's done, I'm going to wipe it off with a little bit of more water and then use a buffing cloth to buff it out until it's nice and clean and shiny. Now I'm going to pull the fridge out, which took a lot more effort than I thought because it's a pretty big fridge. And I had actually cleaned under the fridge. I'm going to say the fridge and the stove were both done less than 6 months ago. And this is still everything that's under there. Like I said, I've got 4 little kids, so there is always food and stuff that gets swept under there. I often find glass, like we go through a lot of plates and dishes just because, you know, they're little kids. And they always hide under there. This one here, there was 2 lip glosses, my Fitbit charger, and a bunch of food. If you're interested in seeing that one, I have a short video that I'll link at the top there. And now that that's done, I'm going to push it back into place, and then I'm going to start organizing the shelving here. Now I have just been putting stuff up there. I wanted to see what I could put in a different area, and then I think on the top ones here I'm just going to put some plants because it's a nice sunny area. So I'm going to just leave those ones there, and then it'll be easier for cleaning off too. I just have to move those ones and dust it as opposed to all of the stuff that I had accumulated up there. Spring cleaning is a great time to kind of declutter at the same time as you're cleaning, so I did quite a bit of that. And now moving on to the dishwasher here. So any parts that can come out, I'm going to take out and wipe down. This one here is the kind of filter there, and it gets super disgusting. I did this one probably about 4 months ago, and I'm going to do it again. So the inside part here, I'm just going to spray down and wipe down. The inside part is not super gross. It's more along the sides that gets really disgusting. And then I'm also going to check here for the sprayer. If there was anything that was kind of clogged up, I would use either a pipe cleaner or a straw cleaner to get in there. But this one was pretty good. I had done it not that long ago. So these corners here get pretty disgusting, so I want to spray those down, and I let it sit for a little while and then wiped it down afterwards to make sure that I got all of the extra disgustingness out of there. Now, like I said, I had cleaned this filter out about 4 months ago, and I keep forgetting that every time that I take it out that big metal part thing comes off. So I had started cleaning with it on, and then it started coming off afterwards. You just have to do it in a really specific way. And then as soon as I had taken it off, I was like, oh yeah, I did do that last time. So that part came off, and this part, it gets so disgusting. So this is really important to make sure that you do this, and I find the easiest way to do it is just some hot soapy water and a toothbrush, and just go to town on that area there. There's a lot of nooks and crannies that are kind of awkward. If you had one of those straw brushes, you you could probably get into the bottom there. I did the best that I could, and I did a pretty good job, but I think if I had a straw cleaner, I probably could have gotten the inner part, like you can see there, the inner part. I probably could have gotten that a little bit better. But either way, it turned out really nice, and hopefully I won't have to do it again for a few months. Now that everything is put back in clean, I'm going to put 1 cup of vinegar in there, and then I'm going to run it on a hot cycle, and that will just kind of clean everything out a little bit more, and then I'm going to put our dirty dishes back in there. Another area that often gets overlooked here is the area in between the cabinets, so the little walls there. There's lots of stuff that spatters onto there, and a lot of scuff marks too because of things just being pushed up against there. So I'm going to wipe it all down, and then I'm using a magic eraser to get all of those scuff marks off, and then I wipe it down again because if you use the magic eraser, it kind of leaves a little bit of a gritty surface on top there. So then I'm going to use my washcloth to wipe it down after. Another thing that often gets overlooked while you're cleaning is your dish rack there. So we do some of our dishes in the dishwasher, and we do a good chunk of like the pots and pans hand washing. And this one here gets pretty disgusting as well. If you can fit it in your dishwasher, it'd probably be a lot easier to just do that. Ours did not really fit very well. I'd have to lay it like horizontally, and I wasn't a big fan of doing that. So I just washed it by hand and then let it dry over there. I clean the countertops often throughout the day, so I'm just going to try and focus on more of the stuff that I don't normally get to. So in this case, the walls there, I'm going to try and clean those ones and remove all of the scuff marks. Next, I'm going to move on to the stovetop here, so I'm going to wipe it all down first, and then I'm going to get my scraper out and scrape off some of the extra parts that are kind of stuck on there before I do the cleaning. My husband cleans this probably about once a month, but because we have got little kids and we're not always there to watch, things often boil over and get pretty gross. So I'm going to use a cleaner here, and then I'm going to let it sit. And then while it's sitting, I'm going to clean the rest of the stove, the front part there. And then once it's dry, I'm going to scrape it off, and it looks super nice after this. And now it's super shiny. So now I'm going to go ahead and pull it out from the counter there. And again, this one was probably done less than 6 months ago for sure, but you'd be amazed at how much stuff gets under there. My son had lost a car a while ago and I knew he had been looking for it and it ended up being there. There's a granola bar, the food I expected, the spatula and the spoon and the car, the granola bar, those were things that I did not know were under there. So I'm going to go ahead and clean everything up under here and get it back to new. We also have a guard that's on the side there, but there's a lot of stuff that builds up underneath there. So I'm going to try and get all of those things cleaned up and then move it back into place. The next thing that I wanted to do was wipe down all of these cabinets, and now they had been pretty beat up by the previous owners. So I wanted to get in there and do a really good cleaning. So I'm going to quickly use some soap and water. I say quickly, but it actually took a really long time. So I'm going to clean all around the front part there, the handles. The handles get really gross. Like, I underestimated how gross the handles got, especially on the ones that were vertical instead of horizontal. Those ones got really gross at the bottom corners there. So here I'm just using hot soapy water. And then once I'm done this, I'm going to use a wood cleaner afterwards to kind of make it shine a little bit more and make sure that it's nice and clean, because it definitely needed it 2 times. 1 time was not enough. So hopefully, and then there was somewhere it had little nooks and crannies that I used a toothbrush with, because there was quite a bit of stuff that had accumulated in there. You can see here, there's a lot of stuff that added in there. It's kind of a silly design, actually. It'd be nice if it was all one piece, but anyways, I'm gonna use a toothbrush here, and then after all of this is done, I'm gonna go back over it with a wood cleaner just to give it a little bit of extra clean, and hopefully it'll last a bit longer that way. thing that I tackled this week was all of the hardwood flooring upstairs. So I steam mop, and then I also do a regular mopping a couple times a week because we've got little kids, so there's always food all over there. But there is nothing quite like getting onto your hands and knees and actually physically cleaning it, because there's stuff that you don't normally see. And because we've got little kids, most of my cleaning is done in the evening. I'll steam mop the floors and I'll sweep and mop and whatever in the evenings, and then I think I've done a really good job. And then in the morning I'll look and I'll be like, whoa, I missed so much stuff. So this week I got down on my hands and knees and cleaned every square inch of that floor, and I used a wood cleaner as well, so it got really nice and shiny. So I did all of the floors there as well this week. I won't show you the entire thing because it took a really long time, but I made sure that I got every little spot there, and especially under the table here, because that's where we eat. Most of the food ends up underneath there. So there was a lot of like dried on berries and stuff that were really hard to get off there. You know, the banana peels, those little banana strings, there was quite a few of those that were stuck on, and they are the worst to get off of there. So anyways, the floors are nice and clean now. And then I'm also going to do the microwave. Now this is something that I normally do. I clean out the microwave quite often. So I'm just going to put some water and lemon in there to kind of steam it so that it comes off nice and easily. It also gives it a nice smell. But what I don't normally do is take the microwave down and clean all around it, the wood, like where it sits, and also the outside of the microwave. So I'm going to make sure that I do that, and then kind of try to organize. You saw that it's small for that space, so we often pile stuff up on the top there. I'm going to try and get rid of that and put it where it belongs. And that was all of the deep cleaning that I got done this week. So I still did my regular cleaning. Some of it took kind of a hiatus while I was doing this because I don't normally have the time to do deep cleaning. So I'm going to try doing it over the next few weeks, a bunch of spring cleaning. If you are interested in this content, again, I would love it if you subscribed, because I'm going to be doing a lot more of this in the future. I hope that you have a wonderful week, and thanks so much for joining me.